Hey, good evening, everybody. Come on in and grab a seat. Come on in and find a seat. Move on up. Later on, if you're looking for something to do, we can. Cody Benzinger just gave me some Mr. Rogers neighborhood playing cards. I thought they were cigarettes at first. Then I thought, I didn't think Mr. Rogers made cigarettes, but they are playing cards. So there you go. What an awesome gift. We want to welcome everybody tonight to our final True North in the Fellowship Hall, Lord willing. Next week, we move back in to the filling station with some renovations. You may not immediately be able to see them when you walk in, except the sound booth has been new and improved and upgraded. But an upgraded sound system, video projection system, some things have been tweaked, and people like Mike and Jeff Neely, Eli Waldron, whose birthday is today, Ben and others back there have been hard at work doing that. So let's show our appreciation to them for an amazing job that we'll thank them again next week. Hey, everybody that is tuning in online, Zach, scan the room. Everybody just look back there at the camera back there. Let's all wave at everybody that's watching back at home. Everybody wave at everybody there that's watching back at home. Hey, in just a minute, those of you that are watching at home, we're going to want you to take out your phone and get ready to scan a QR code we're going to show on the screen. Zach will zoom in on that in just a minute so that we can know who all is tuning in and watching at home. So if you are at home, I'm going to give you a few seconds to get a phone ready, to get ready to go. Everybody that's in here, you do not need to scan. Please don't scan the QR code this time while we're here. But you all will need the piece of paper and pen in your seat momentarily, not right now, but just hold on to that. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But that is my reminder to turn the phone off. So if you've got a cell phone, if you want to silence that, that would be great. If you're in the room, if you're at home, you don't have to silence your phone. But everybody up here, silence those. And again, at home, take just a moment because we're just about to put a QR code up here for you to let us know. Because we really do want to know how many are kind of engaging with True North at home, or you may be in some other place. So if you're watching from another state or another country or another county, county's more likely than country. But I'd love to see if we could get a response from another country. That would be incredible. Or even another county or something like that. So get ready to do that. I think I'm going to put that up on the screen right now. There it is. So here's our QR code. Zach's going to zoom in on that. It should work. If it doesn't work, then maybe somebody can text me and say, hey, I can't get that to work. But we have folks continuing to come in here tonight. We're glad to have everybody here with us. A good crowd tonight for being in the fellowship hall. We're really glad to have everybody here. I'm excited about what we're going to be able to do tonight. Everybody at home, you should have a chance there. We'll leave it up there for just a few more moments. All you do is put your camera on the QR code and tap it, and it'll take you to the website where you can register. All we need is your name, and I think it asks who you're watching with and where you're watching from. And we just kind of want to know where everybody is because there's a lot of folks we have not seen in some time, and we miss everybody, and we're not able to connect with everybody. But if you're watching at home and you've not been able to meet with anybody here or talk with us, feel free to text us, call us, let us know. We just want to know that everybody is okay. So hopefully by now everybody's had a chance to do that. That would work. Can one person up front try that and just make sure that you're able to get it to work? Can somebody do that for us? You'll try. Okay, very good. I think it should work. We just need one person to see if it's. You got it. Okay, very good. All right, and then we'll find out where everybody is in just a minute. I don't remember what's next. I think it's our 4-minute party. Is that right? Okay, we're about to have a 4-minute party, and here's how this works. In just a minute, we're all going to stand up and meet one another. And if you are a guest and are visiting with us, we're not going to embarrass you right now or in the future. We're not going to embarrass you at any point, I hope. But we are going to, when we all stand up, we're going to ask if you're a guest, if you'll come up here to the front where some of our teens are about to make their way up here. They've got a Baskin-Robbins gift card for you. And so we have the gift cards? You got it? Okay, come on up. So if you are a guest, it's your first time here, or if you visited before but for some reason never got your gift card, then when we all stand up, you can come on up here, meet these folks, and they'll give you a Baskin-Robbins gift card just for being with us. And we're so glad to have you at True North tonight. Okay, so We want everybody else to try to find somebody in the room that you don't know or somebody that you haven't seen and really, really try to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Take a friend with you. Get a friend, walk to somebody and say, hey, I don't believe we've met, or I don't know you, or I don't remember your name, or you're in the 7th grade and I'm a senior, whatever, and just find somebody else. Let's do that for the next 4 minutes. Everybody at home, enjoy this along with us. Let's have a 4-minute party. Let's all stand up, find somebody in the room that you don't know. Apparently, I just received a text that folks back home could not hear me when I went to the camera earlier and said hello to everybody. All I did was say hello, and we miss you, and we'd love to see you again soon. So, and to get your Bibles ready. So that's what we said. How many, in fact, did meet somebody that you do not know? Okay. Did y'all meet somebody you don't know? Who'd you meet? You didn't? Well, why not, Sam? You got a birthday coming up, don't you? Yeah, speaking of that, Blake, come up. Let's welcome the folks that are going to be a year older, or they are a year older already. Say that you're still cool. How come most people up here on a birthday, it looks like they're on a firing squad? It's like they're about to be, looks like it's like they've been sent to the principal. It's like, you and you.
I think
go to the office.
I think True North is the only place where I wish I didn't have a birthday this week.
Well, nobody has to walk up here. We're never going to know.
It's true.
We used to put names of the birthday people, and they were often shamed into walking up here. And then after getting scolded a few times, I thought, you know what? We're just going to let people decide if they want to walk up. Or if I left somebody's name off, then they got their feelings hurt because their names weren't in the roll. So now we just, say. So anybody can... I don't know. Who's excited to come up here on your birthday? Who's really excited? Okay.
Mostly middle schoolers.
I guess I'm not going to ask who hates coming up here on their birthday.
For the most part, that was 7th and 8th graders.
Can I even ask this question? Is this a wrong question to ask? How many of you have stayed away from True North on your birthday simply for this moment? Hope and Alex? Alex, you're like, I don't want to walk up there? Alex is like, I don't want attention drawn to me, and you're doing it now, and why did I come tonight? I'm not coming tonight or my birthday. Hope, you did not want to come up here on your birthday? And you were terrified?
And what else? Was there more?
Was this back when I scared you to death? I don't understand. I've got Mr. Rogers playing cards on the table. It's not like I've got like a grenade up here or a Doberman. I don't know why I picked those two things. But if somebody had a Doberman and a grenade, they'd be pretty scary. Do what?
Two opposite ends of the spectrum.
A Doberman and a grenade?
Yes.
Those are at opposite ends of the spectrum? I mean, one's a living thing and one's an inanimate object.
One goes to war and one is...
Could tear you a lot from limb to limb.
Yeah, but in the backyard of Tennessee, not in Vietnam.
I don't even understand this conversation. Tony Duggar's back there like, I'm glad I came tonight. This is exciting. Somebody's going to have to make me a list of why I'm so frightening. I don't possibly understand it. And other people are like laughing, going, what in the world was she scared about? Anyway, so birthdays. So Alex, when is your birthday, Alex? He's like, you're doing it again. I hate this.
Is it this week?
Wait, you said you plead the 5th?
It's November 7th.
Well, hey, you got a long time. He said, I plead the 5th. I thought he said April the 5th. So I can't hear anything. All right. Well, in November, don't worry, Alex. Just show up. You don't have to walk up here. We're not going to say, Alex, get up here. I'm not going to shame anybody to doing that. Wow, that was a lot of birthday stuff there. Hey, Pictures of the Week is a game. It's a game and Pictures of the Week in one. Mind-blowing.
Is it don't say that again?
No, it is not. As a matter of fact, don't say that.
Sorry.
For those of you watching at home, we played a game last week in here that crashed and burned. But it was fun to watch crash and burn, wasn't it? It was pretty enjoyable. I still want to have a rematch with the people who say, I know I would be good at that. How many of you left last week and said, I know I would be good at that? Samuel, you tried it. Chandler, you were up here.
Cody was also
Cedric,
up
you're
here.
saying what? Oh, okay. Now I'm with you. Cedric says that her and Nico would be really good at this game. I would be willing to see that. What? Okay. Hey, it's on. Hey, Cedric, did you hear that? Isaac and Maggie, you and Nico, a battle of champions. Next time we're all in the same space together, you all give me a heads up so I get the slides ready. And we're going to make it happen. I really want to see that. Yeah, brothers and sisters are going to be better at this game, I think. Siblings will be better at this game. Just trust me. If you play with somebody you know, you're better at it. Yeah, because anyway, it takes too long to explain. All right, here's how this is going to work. You got the piece of paper. Those of you watching at home, you might not be able to actually play this game for a prize, but you could play on the honor system and just see how well you do, but you won't be able to compete, actually. We can have some games in the future where you can play from home. Now, everybody, I just need you to give me like a raise your right hand and just say, I'm not going to cheat. Just do that right now. Go. Okay, I don't know if anybody said it. I just trust you. You cannot use your phone or watch or device to look up these answers, okay? Now, and Blake, I'm curious to see how well you do. Is your mom by any chance, does she watch True North at all? Is there any chance she's watching?
I mean, I can find out.
No, that's okay. It's
Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda. Rhonda, if you're watching, Rhonda, text Blake right now and let him know that you're watching. Let's just see how long that takes for her to reply. There's no way she's watching.
I don't think she's watching. Is there a reason why
I bet my mom is watching. Let's have a battle of the moms. All right, my mom.
Lizzie, text my mom.
No. Mom, if you're watching, you text my phone, and we'll see if Rhonda or your mom had a 30-second head start. Let's find out if Rhonda or Andy
It's on
Skidmore
Eastern time. You never know.
What does that have to do with it? It's not like she's going to watch it an hour from now.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, she's watching it right now. But it's later for her, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's past her bedtime. No, Isaac Harrison says, "This is your mom. I'm watching." That's not you're Isaac.
Yeah.
I've got your name in my phone.
Mike Jones is watching.
Okay, so Mom, if you're watching, I'll be disappointed. The one time that my mom is not tuned in to True North. So Mom, text me because it's now a battle between Andy and Rhonda. So let's find out. But no, Lizzie, you can't text. Don't text Rhonda. Nobody else cares about this little competition except for us, and I'm not even sure we care.
What does the winner get?
Here's the reason I asked.
Okay.
The reason I asked is because,
Well, game over.
Look at there.
That's great.
Yeah, my mom says I'm here.
Hi, Miss Andy. Thanks for showing my mom up. Real good. It's going to be great.
Next week, Andy and Rhonda arm wrestle. Let's just think of competitions that your mom and my mom could compete in every single week.
Okay.
A coloring contest. But this is one competition. No offense, Mom, but I think your mom would win.
Okay.
Just for the record.
Well,
your mom who's not watching,
yeah,
apparently.
she's not going to win tonight.
So I want to, how many of you when you were a kid, this would really get you going? If Mom or Dad said, "Hey, get ready, we're about to go to the library." Now be honest. Well, first of all, Reese just like, that got her excited right now. She's like, what? So raise your hand. Okay, all right. Anybody, I'm not going to make you talk. Is there anybody that can say why that got you so thrilled when you were a kid? Lark's willing to talk. Keep your hands up. A few are willing to share. Why is that so exciting, Lark?
Well, so when I was younger, we didn't have a lot of money, and so we didn't have a lot of toys at my house.
Okay.
And so when we went to the library, we got to get movies and stuff that we could take home and check out.
Okay.
Mom would read with me, and we get to play with their toys.
Okay, they had toys at the library, and you got to play with. Okay, very good.
Library.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah, Reese, why did you like going to the library?
Because I started reading when I was 5, and I could literally read nonstop all day long. And when I go to the library, I get a stack of 10 books.
Okay, what was your go-to? What was your favorite book in the library? Is there? Don't some people have a book like they always checked out the same book?
Yep.
We had somebody in the back.
Every time we went to the library, we would get Sweet CC's. So every time they would be like, "Oh, we're going to the library," we would just know we would get them.
What, you would get what?
Every time we went to the library, we would get Sweet CC's.
Oh, so we're going to the library. Yeah, let's go read some books. You went to Sweet CC's first and then the library, or library and then Sweet CC's?
Sweet CC's, then the library.
Oh, okay. All right. That sweetens the deal. Who over here had their hand up? Yeah, Caroline?
Well, I love car rides and books, and my brothers would never go.
Oh, so car rides, books, mom only, no brothers. All right, done deal. Isaac. Oh, we got you going, but in a bad way. The library smelled weird. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to even ask questions. We'll just go with that. I realize now that people listening at home did not get all of those answers, and I'm not going to repeat all of them. But the idea is that some of us really enjoyed going to the library when we were kids. Some of us are afraid to admit it, but you did. This is a picture of the New York Public Library.
Oh, yeah.
So when we go, some of us in the past that have been up to New York, there's a lot of people that have gone into the library. They just want to walk in and see it. And you're like, why would you want to walk into a library? Folks, look, check that out. That's not the Smyrna Library, is it, Lark? Yeah, it's not quite. And so that's an incredible library to walk into. And so here's what we're going to do. For the 125th anniversary of the New York Public Library, they got a bunch of data and they compiled a list of what are the top 10 most checked out books in the New York Public Library. Now, I will tell you this. Of the top 10, my guess is that you in the room probably have heard of, I'm going to say 9 of the 10, and some of you will have heard of 10 of the 10. And you're like, there's no way. If you have ever read anything, you're probably going to be able to get some. Now, I don't want you to cheat. Don't look them up. But I want you to, you're going to write down 1 through 10, and here's the competition, okay? When I say most checked out books, you have to keep in mind that if it's a really, really popular newer book, that's not the game. The game is not the most popular books. Over the history of the New York Public Library, the top 10 books that have been checked out the most. So if a book is really new, it hasn't had a lot of time to be checked out a lot, right? So you're thinking about, I'll tell you this hint right now, the Bible is not one of them. The Bible is one of the most popular books of all time, but it's not the most checked out book. So I've already taken that off your list. Now listen, you're going to get a point for every one that you get right. Some of you may get 1 or 2 right. Now remember, this is any kind of book, okay? And you're trying to think about what kind of books are going to be checked out of a library a lot. You're going to put down 1 through 10. You're going to get 1 point if you get the book right, and then you're going to get 2 points if you get it in the right spot. All right, 1 through 10. So that's the game. Now, is anybody going to get any of them right? I'm guessing that the most that anybody will get right that does not cheat in this room would be maybe 2 or 3. But my guess is you know all of these books. You're not going to be like, well, I've never heard of that book. There's one book on the list that some of you may not have heard of. The rest of you, you're going to have to admit you've at least heard of the books. I think 9 out of 10. So go ahead and write them down. Mike, I didn't tell you to come up with any book writing, thinking music. If you got any kind of music, I'll give you a second to find something there. But here's the game. The top 10 most checked out books of all time in the New York Public Library. And you're like, 125 years? Yes, but you all will have heard of all of these books, okay? So while we give you a moment to think, hey, if you're watching at home, you've already probably Googled it and made a list, but you can go ahead and jot them down and play along. If you want to look them up, you can. You just can't compete in the game. But I want you to jot down 10 book titles, books that you remember. Many of you, by the way, have probably checked out one of these books. My guess is a lot of you own a lot of these books. You probably own them, many of them. This is my guess. Okay. So I'll give you about, yes, Zeb's got a question. Well, I can't hear your question. How many more seconds we got, Mike? Oh. All right, pens down, pens down. If you got 8 titles, you just can't write any more after this, okay? I'm really curious, how many of you think, I'm pretty confident that I got at least 1 right on this list, okay? Is there anybody who thinks they've got 2 right? I mean, obviously, if you wrote the answers down, those are your answers. Okay. All right, anybody think you have 4 or more right? Anybody? Jake thinks he's got more than 4 right. Okay, Garrison maybe. Okay, here's what we're playing for. To the, I don't remember how much these gift cards are worth. These Starbucks cards that we've used in the past, they're either 5 or 10. I don't remember. 50. No, they're not 50. But we've got a Starbucks gift card for the guy winner and the girl winner.
You can maybe get a drink or maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
Expensive drinks.
That's right. If it's $5, you'll be stuck.
Yeah.
You'll have to go to Sweet CC's and then to the library. Okay, here we go, guys. So you're going to circle it if you got it right, and you put a +1, and you'll get 2 points if you got it in the right area, okay? In the right, exactly the right one. All right. Top 10 most checked out books of all time. I'm just curious. So if you get it right, I want you to stand up. If it's on your list somewhere, not at the right number, but just stand up if you say, yep, that one's on my list. All right, here we go. At number 10. Wait, hold on. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, at number 10, checked out 189,000 times. And I'm not going all the way to the Dewey Decimal, but 189,000 times. Number 10 was The Very Hungry Caterpillar. The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Wait, do you actually have that on your list? That is on your list?
Way to go, Craig.
Craig, you wrote it down? And you did not cheat.
I think that deserves 5
I
points.
just want to see this. Let's see it. Did you have it down at number 10? No. Oh, you only wrote down 2. You wrote down 2. Hungry Caterpillar and Percy Jackson. Okay.
Well, incredible.
And we're going to count that. That's close enough. It's not hungry,
God
but
still works miracles. That's
wow.
incredible.
Craig stands up and he's like,
He's the only one.
Yeah.
I think you get 5
all right,
points.
you get a point. You may win. All right, so you've heard of this book, right? So my guess is you're going to have heard most of these. Coming in at number 9 with 231,000 checkouts is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. All right, wow. All right, very
That's
good,
right,
very
that's
good.
right.
Have a seat, have a seat.
I was so close. I had it at number 8.
Now, do you know why it's so low on the list?
Be-
The fact that this is even on the list is impressive, according to the director of the Newark Public Library, because this is in 125 years the most checked out books. I don't know when this book came out, but it was
1997? 93?
You say 92 or 93? You just sounded more confident than he did. That's why I went with your answer. I don't know.
Somebody look it up. I got it.
All right.
I think it's 97.
So the fact that it's only been around for a while and it's yet on their list is pretty impressive. So that's number 9. Okay, so far, how many of you have heard of all the books? Right? Okay, good. All right, here we go. Coming in at number 8. Number 8, 284,000 checkouts. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is the one that I thought some of you might not have heard of. How many of you have ever heard of this book? Okay, I knew a lot of you would have. This is the one that I thought some of you might not have. I'll tell you this.
It's 97? It's
I'll
97.
Oh.
Harry Potter came out in 97.
Hey, I will tell you this. This is the only book on the list that is not a novel or a children's book.
Well, that...
So there you go. But that is number 8. All right, here we go. I think you should have heard of most of the rest of these. Number 7, coming in at number 7 with 316,000 checkouts, Fahrenheit 451. All right, one person had that on their list. Only one had that on their list. All right.
I should have known.
See, when you're playing the game, you have to think, hold on, you have to think what kind of books are going to be checked out
Pretty much.
a whole lot.
So far, it's pretty close. If it's going to go based off of that, every book I read in 9th grade English.
Yeah. Do you know why children's books make the list? Children's books make the list because they're short and they're read and returned faster, and so they can circulate more. And so that's why children's books, and children are checking out a lot of books. But all right, here we go. The next one, coming in at number 6, somebody's got this on their list. 338,000 checkouts. It is on my top 25 list of my favorite books of all time. I wrote a letter to the author when I was a kid, only to get a response back to say he was no longer living. So he did not write me back. But coming in at number 6, Charlotte's Web.
Kate
Oh,
Chapman.
we have 2 Charlotte's Webs. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Okay, have a seat. Yeah, E.B. White passed away when I was in elementary school. Okay, coming in at number 5. Somebody's got this on their list. We're now in the top 5. With 422,000 checkouts, number 5, To Kill a Mockingbird. All right. I bet that's the loudest cheer that book has ever gotten anywhere ever. Except for when your teacher says, we're finished. We know, hey, by the way, it's an amazing book.
I've still never read it.
It's an incredible movie. It's an incredible movie. You didn't know it was a movie? Oh, it's a great movie. All right, have a seat.
It's a black and white movie. So
So is It's a Wonderful Life. My same teacher, Sheila Cannon, introduced me to It's a Wonderful Life and To Kill a Mockingbird.
she deserved Teacher of All the Years.
Gregory Peck. So great. How many of you have seen the movie To Kill a Mockingbird? Some of you are like, yeah, I read the movie, so I watched the movie so I wouldn't have to read the book. Oh, it's such a good book. It's one of the few books that most students say, I read it and I didn't have to read it, or maybe I had to read it, but I loved reading it. Did you have a comment about it? That is number 5. Did you get it right? Oh, at number 5.
Can I just say that I actually told her the name of the book? I asked what the name of the book was, but just described it. And I said, and she put it in number 5, so I think I should get 2 points too.
Well, that's not how the
done,
game
Kate
works,
Toombs.
Mark.
Hey, way to use your resources, Kate Toombs.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, very good. Okay, number 4. Yeah, you all know all the rest of these. Number 4, with 436,000 checkouts, who has Where the Wild Things Are on your list? Anybody got it on their list?
Frustrating.
Is the frustration because you should have thought of it?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were like, oh, why are they checking out that book? I hate that book.
It's a good book.
That book kind of scared me a little bit when I was a kid. Okay, number 3. We're now to the top 3. Number 3 is not going to get a lot of cheers. Number
A Tale of
No,
Two
it
Cities.
is not Shakespeare. It is not A Tale of Two Cities. Top 3 with 442,000.
The Hobbit.
All I'm saying is that you should start reading it. If you've not read it in a while, you should read it because I think we're in it. Is 1984 by George Orwell.
Craig,
Wait, Craig, you had Percy Jackson.
well, you can't write it down after the competition
After the game
starts.
started. He was like, I wrote down a couple more. I mean, good. You did write them down without cheating, but the game was over. So you don't get credit for that.
Ian
Sorry,
got
Craig.
it. Ian got it.
Oh, nice. He's like, I wrote down 2 more. 1984 and How the Grinch Stole
He
Christmas.
probably got the answers in a McDonald's bag.
Okay, all right. 1984, so you got it? All right, that was number 3. All right, guys, we're down to the top 2. The top 2 books. The top 2 most checked out books of all time with 470,000 plus checkouts. Do what? Say it again. Oh, no. It's not Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Sorry. Here it is. Number 2. The Cat in the Hat. Did you really? No. You wrote down Dr. Seuss. That's a lot of books. No, that's not Dr. Seuss. You have to have the cat. Dr. Seuss wrote a lot of books. No. That is not Dr. Seuss. No. Can't believe we're getting into an argument about this. All right. And some of you actually know Theodore Geisel, who is Dr. Seuss, and Theodore Geisel, you know the old GIF thing, right?
Yeah.
Theodore Geisel says, by the way, I hate to break it to everybody, it's Dr. Seuss. That was true. That's what it was.
Oh.
I mean, when he named himself this, it was Dr. Seuss.
Well, I liked what everybody else named him.
So
Dr.
you learned,
Seuss
yeah.
is good.
I'm going to go with Seuss. I still like Seuss. Or Dr. Zeus, as a lot of people say, Dr. Zeus.
Interesting.
Okay, the number 1 book. I'm just curious if this made anybody's list. It did. It was one of the most checked out books when I was going to the library. 485,000 plus checkouts, not the dictionary. I don't think you can check out the dictionary. It's a resource book.
You can't.
Number one, curious to know. Give me three guesses. You got to pull a mask down. What? Never heard of that.
It's possible.
Oh, Reads. I thought you said Beautiful Reads. No, yeah, Beautiful Reads. That's the book my wife wrote. No, it's not on the list. I thought you said Beautiful Reads. I didn't know what that was. Yes. War and Peace. No, not it. Caroline, who went to the library a lot. The Giving Tree. No, that's a good guess.
Oh, that's such a good
That's a
book,
very
though.
good guess. I'm just really curious to know what these three guys are going to guess. Scarlet Letter. Good guess, but no. Tom Sawyer. No, but good guess. No.
Tiki Timbo?
No. That's another good one. That's a really good one. Here it is. The number one checked out book of all time at the New York Public Library. Number one, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats.
It's a good one.
The girls are like, oh, I love that book. The guys are
Good
like,
book.
bleh.
Ooh.
Hey, nobody had this on their list? Who all remembers this book? Right? Okay, so how many of you will now say, yes, I knew 9 of the 10 books that you put up there? How many of you knew all 10 of them? Okay. All right. Well, let's add up your scores. Those of you that played fairly, you don't get credit for Dr. Seuss. That was a good guess.
I can't believe Lord of the Flies wasn't on there.
Yeah. Let's see. Can I look at your list?
Yeah.
This is a pretty good list. Harry Potter, Great Gatsby.
Well, Harry Potter definitely
A
Hollows.
Christmas Carol. That's good.
The Hobbit.
War and Peace, Lord of the Flies, A Tale of Two Cities, Mere Christianity.
I thought maybe C.S. Lewis.
Maybe. And The Hobbit. Okay. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I thought that might be on there. All right. So how many of you got at least 1 point? If you got at least 1 point, stand up. At least 1 point. Okay, you just want to stand up. All right, if you got 2 points. Oh, and they fell. 3 points.
Scarlet.
Wait, we got 3. We have 3.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait. 3? 4? No, 3 points. Stand up. All 3 of you all are going to get a Starbucks gift card. Is there a guy that had 2 points? What? Oh, you have 3 points as well. All right, then we're going to have, there we go. Everybody got 3 points. Y'all come on up. Give him a big hand. Let's give him a Starbucks gift card. Woo! You like Starbucks? Okay. You like Starbucks, okay? Oh, well, you can give it to somebody.
McDonald's gift card.
Or you can find a lady who likes Starbucks and say, I'm going to take a copy of a good book, and would you all go to Starbucks with me after we go to the library? All right, very good. Just giving out helpful hints. All right. Well, I think we all learned something. Maybe. That I can't hear. Beautiful reads. Got it. All right. So those are your pictures of the week. There's a reason that we played that game. It doesn't always connect to what we're talking about. But tonight, we are going to look at one of the least checked out books in the Bible. Not checked out like a library, but we're going to spend some time for the next several weeks in one of the least checked out books, one of the books that you don't talk a whole lot about. And so I just got to thinking, I wonder if how people will do at this game. So be thinking about that as we move on in just a moment. I can't remember what's next. Is there a picture?
Yes.
Okay. I think there's 2 pictures.
Yes.
Okay, very good. One of them is this picture that we got from Liliana Wape. If you can read Spanish, then you'll be able to tell what it says. This is a thank you for her Christmas gifts. But, I mean, Liliana is so much older and has gotten a lot taller and is just a beautiful young lady. This is the girl that we sponsor at the City of Children. And I say that because there's a lot of people in the room that don't know that. If you're watching at home, this is the money that we give every Sunday in class goes to pay for her food, her clothes, her school, the sports activities, the extracurricular classes. Everything that we donate goes towards that. It doesn't cover all of it, but we raise $3,300 a year. And I just want you to know that it's for a real person, and every dollar you give goes to Liliana to support the work there at the City of Children. So having said that, some of you saw in the top 10 that we are having an informational meeting on January the 31st, Sunday, January 31st, to talk about the potential of a trip, our summer mission trip to the City of Children. Now, if you read the email, you know that trip is not guaranteed to happen, The border is still closed until February 21st. All of the spring groups have already been canceled. The first group that's still remaining on the calendar is at the end of May, May 29th. They're still hoping that groups can be able to come. They may limit the size of the groups, and they're not going to allow the groups to go outside of the home and do other projects. So it's going to, if there is a trip, which right now I don't even know what percentage to put at it, but it's small. Maybe 50-50 right now, I don't know. But the group size may be limited, which means that we may have to adjust the grades that we take. It depends on how many people show up at this meeting and express an interest. It also means that there'll be a limit on the number of adults that we take. We will not be able to take the same number of adults that we have taken in the past. But we want anybody who is interested to show up. Don't think, well, they said it's going to be small, I won't go. We want to know how many people are interested, and then we're going to gauge that. I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes up because I don't even know that a trip is happening. We had a board meeting for the City of Children the other day, and it was discussed. They're still hoping that we can take groups in the summer. Our trip is supposed to be July 10th through the 16th, I think if I got those dates right, which is a Saturday to a Friday. That's when our group is assigned right now to go. It could be that they cancel groups and they push us to later in July. So some of you are like, well, I kind of need to know when we're going. And just know that, like all of us, we don't have answers to all the questions you'll have. But on the 31st, we're going to find out. So if you have an interest in going on that trip, to show up. And you'll see more about that in an email. Hopefully you saw that in an email. If you are not getting the youth group emails from us, and those of you watching at home, if you're not getting those, you just go to nbyg.org and you need to sign up to get those, because that's how you're going to find out information. Otherwise, you'll be left out of things like this, and we don't want you to be. So nbyg.org, you sign up to get the text messages and the emails, and we'll talk about this on January 31st. If you got it, say got it. We're about to transition into worship, and I'm just going to send one other picture that that my dad sent me. And that was one of my favorite Mike Jones moments ever at True North. He was trying to give me a clue as to what picture was next, but I couldn't figure it out at first, but I did finally figure it out. So my dad, we have a farm in Deckard, Tennessee, outside of Winchester, a family farm that's been in our family for many hundreds of years, I think, and since the 1800s. And my dad sent me a picture. He's there right now. He sent me this picture, and I just thought, as we get ready to worship, and as we get ready to look at the book we're going to look at, this picture will possibly come into play. Here's a picture that he sent me of a calf that is 1 day old. That calf is 1 day old and is just learning to walk. The mother had cleaned him all off. The picture was taken the day after he was born. And so it's just an amazing picture. That mom does not look all that happy that somebody's taking a picture of his baby. But it's just a cool reminder just of life. And if you've ever witnessed, as I know many of you in the room have, a calf being born, or any type of larger animal being born, it's amazing that they hit the ground kind of running and trying to figure life out pretty quick. And I just thought this was a great picture as we went into to worship tonight. We're about to spend some time singing some songs. Those of you that are going to help us sing, if you guys want to come on up and take your place. Any of our students that are willing to pray for or with any of your classmates, would you just stand up right now where you are before all the lights go out? Just stand up. Just walk to the back of the room. If you're a guy, girl, a guest, or an adult, anybody that just wants to be prayed with, or you want somebody to pray for somebody that you know, these are the people that you should go to. And I just beg you to take advantage of that as we're going to spend a little bit of time in worship together tonight. Before we begin and look at one of the least checked out books in all of Scripture. Okay, let's all stand together. Feel free to spend some time in one of the Bibles. Sing this all together, and then we'll break off into part. We exalt thee, we exalt thee, we exalt thee, O
of grace, in need of love, in need of mercy, raining down from high above, in need of strength, in need of peace, in need of things only you can give to me, in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, had it not been the Lord who was on our side, the anger of the enemy would have swallowed us alive. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, blessed be the Lord who would not give us up. Blessed be the Lord for his unfailing love. The snare is broken and we have escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Lord. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, had it not been the Lord who was on our side, the water would have engulfed us, we would have surely died. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, blessed be the Lord for his unfailing love. Blessed be the Lord, who would not give us up. The snare is broken and we have escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord. Our help is in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Lord. Sorry, I didn't mean to rewrite that song. Everyone needs compassion, love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. And everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of the Savior, the hope of nations. Savior, he can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. Zion belongs to our God, who sits upon the throne. And unto the Lamb be praise and glory, wisdom and thanks, honor and power and strength be to our God forever and ever, and be to our God forever and ever, and be to our God forever and ever. Amen. And we, the redeemed, shall be strong in purpose and in unity, declaring aloud praise and glory, wisdom and thanks, honor and power and strength be to our God forever and ever, and be to our God forever and ever, and be to our God forever and ever. Amen. Ladies, be and be to our God forever and ever. Amen. Let's sing one more. Hear the holy roar of God resound. Watch the waters part before us now. Come and see what he has done for us. Tell the word of his great love. Our God is a God who saves. Our God is a God who saves. Let God arise. Let God arise. Our God reigns now and forever. He reigns now and forever. Arise, let God arise. Our God reigns now and forever. He reigns now and forever. He
Amen. Guys, go ahead and have a seat. Mike, is the first picture of the talk the one leading into the video?
No. Hang on.
No, that's okay. Don't change it. I just want to make sure. You're good. Don't change anything.
It's not.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So, if you are joining us again online or here for the first time, or if you're a guest, we want to welcome you to True North. We are not perfect, but we are forgiven. And we gather here each week just to try to find our way through life together, because life is, it's difficult to find your way through life. Whether you're 19, whether you're 13, whether you're 29 or 49, life can be difficult to find your way through. I've really struggled with where to go next with our teaching series. And if you've got a Bible, for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to ask you to bring a copy of God's Word. If you use a tablet or a device, that's fine. I don't mind you doing that. I just tend to be old school, and I like to be able to have a Bible in my lap, but I don't impose that on everybody. But bring a Bible, bring a notebook, because we're going to dive deep into Scripture. We're probably not going to spend a week on every chapter. This is not going to go for several weeks, but it's a book of the Bible that I'm really excited to look into, because it's one where there are a lot of kind of hidden things about how to navigate our way through life. And if you're like me, last year was a challenging year, and this year continues to be a challenging year, and probably promises to be challenging. Many of you forget about 2020. For some of you, it was another year of your life that was more difficult than last year. Some of you have gone through things or are going through things. Some of you watching at home are going through things. There are some people that aren't here, that aren't watching at home, because they are going through things that cause them to feel like, you know what, I don't want to be there, because one, they don't have the answers I need, or they're going to make me feel bad about the struggles that I'm having, or nobody understands what I'm going through. And I want you to know, just like we spent the last book of the Bible that we went through, this is a 10-point bonus question. Somebody surely can remember the last book that we went through together as a youth group. What was it? Yeah, the book of Habakkuk. And so some of you may have thought, okay, now we spent some time in Habakkuk. Can we just go to the New Testament? And I wanted to do that. Almost did that. And there's a series that's coming after this that'll take us into all parts of the Bible. But I just kept feeling like that there was another book that we needed to kind of work through, that I don't think in the history of my time at North Boulevard, that I don't know that I've ever taught through this book. Certainly, I'm sure I've taught from it. I know I've taught from it, but I can only think of one or two devotionals or talks that I've given from this book. I just have not spent much time in it, and I felt bad about that. There's a reason, though, that I didn't. But I want to get there in a roundabout way. I want to show you a picture. Some of you just saw. It's a picture that I got for Christmas. Some of you will recognize the picture because some of you are wearing the picture even now, tonight. This is a picture that my daughter Daisy gave me for Christmas. She went in and took the original artwork from the fall retreat shirt. She watercolored it and colored it in and colored the picture for me and framed it and gave it to me. And I treasure it. It's in my office. This is the TAG Youth Camp, the camp where we have gone to camp for years, for those that may be watching at home or who are guests. This is a pretty special place to a lot of us, and it's a place that we got to be for a day in October, but most of us are used to being there for a weekend for a retreat or for a better part of a week for camp, and we've really missed those experiences. And I treasured this picture. It looks almost exactly like the one that you have on your shirt, and I see a couple of you wearing the shirt. But there's a couple of changes. One are that it's colored, so it's colored in, and so it looks even more like the camp. The camp kind of jumps out. But when she gave it to me at Christmas, Daisy said, "There's some little Easter eggs that I put in there, some little hidden things just for you." So I began to look through them and try to find them. And I'll zoom in just a little bit on the picture. And does anybody see something in the picture that's not on your shirt, Landon? Yeah. Some of the tiles that we find at camp, those of you that have been to kids camp or as a teen or a child, you'll see some of the hidden tiles around the pictures that did not make their way onto your shirt. These are unique to this deal here. And so you'll begin to see that as you find those letters, we would always seek to find these tiles. We'd bring them all together, and you with your cabin or team, those of you that have been to camp, would try to solve a mystery based on what the tiles spelled out. Well, it's no mystery here. It's pretty easy what they say, and this is only a part of them. If you go to the bottom part of the picture, there's just a few more. So if you put the puzzle together, it's pretty easy. What's the solution to this puzzle? Yeah, John 10:10. Those are a 1 and a 0. John 10:10. Can somebody, besides a member of my family, raise your hand and tell me, just off the top of your head, does anybody know the point of John 10:10? What does Jesus say in John 10:10? Somebody knows this verse. We talk about it a lot. Thank you, Molly. Okay, say it one more time, a little bit louder. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. That verse has been a big verse for our family. You've heard me talk about that over the years as we've grown up. When it's 10:10, somebody in our house will shout out, it's 10:10. Or if we're in the car, somebody will say it's 10:10. And it's 10:10 twice a day, in the morning or at night. If we're on vacation or if we're at home during the day and when the kids were, at school. But we would say it's 10:10. Occasionally somebody would text and say it's 10:10. And somebody in the house will just shout out, I've come that you might have life. Or I've come to give you life. Or sometimes just life. Abundant life. Jesus says the thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Could somebody just raise a hand? Again, I'm not going to make anybody talk, but I just want you to answer this broadly, and don't be afraid. I know it takes a lot to answer something out, and I know it, especially when I ask a question because I'm so frighteningly intimidating. Somebody just raise your hand. Something that you feel like in 2020 has been stolen from you. I'm not talking about an iPhone or something else that might be stolen. I don't know why I couldn't think of another example of something that might be stolen. Your wallet. But something that has been stolen from you in 2020. Can somebody just raise your hand and tell us? You got one answer over here? Yeah. Okay, time. Time has been stolen from you. I saw an answer over here. Garrison?
Senior year and all the activities that comprise that.
Okay. Senior year activities have been stolen from you. One more. Okay, going to summer camp. Things have been stolen. Now, if I were to say things that have been, killed, then you're like, well, that's a bigger word than stolen. So when Jesus says the thief comes to steal things from you, and then he doesn't just want to steal something from you, he wants to then to kill something in you. So, Garrison, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think you could probably think through this. There's no right answer. I'm not looking for a right answer. If the thief tries to come in to steal something from you, what is he then trying to kill? He's stolen something from you that you value and treasure. What might he be trying to kill in you?
It could be potentially because he's trying to steal something that makes you happy. It could take away what you value in life.
Okay. So he's trying to kill maybe happiness. Or what you value, okay? What's something else that he steals something and he might be trying to kill, Lark? He might be trying to kill your faith. Put that in the next category too, destroy. He's trying to steal something. He's trying to kill something. Scarlett? Hope. Is that what you said? Okay. I normally read lips a lot, so it's very difficult with a mask on, but thank you for answering. He's trying to kill your hope or destroy your hope. Some of you say, those words are, when somebody says, okay, I didn't get to go to this event, that's not really destroying my life, although at the time it felt like it. But there are things inside of you that have been stolen and things that have been killed, and the enemy is slowly beginning to destroy. It's a strategy of the enemy. He's going after the things in our life. Okay, so Jesus says, but I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Like I want you to have an abundant life. So if that's the good news of the Gospels is that Jesus came that we might have life. Somebody turn to, if you got a Bible, I want you, and be ready to read, turn to Matthew 11. I want you to look at Matthew 11, and I want you to look at verse 28. Matthew 11 and verse 28. Then you say, oh, we're in the book of Matthew. This is not the book we're going to look at, nor is it the book of John. But I've got to make one point before I go any further, okay? So Matthew 11:28. If you've got that and you don't mind reading that, would you just raise your hand if you can read for us nice and loud? Reese, do you mind reading nice and loud for us? Okay, let's hear it nice and loud. If you're watching at home, you're probably not going to be able to hear her, but Matthew 11:28, you should be able to do it. That's all right.
Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
Okay, stop. We're going to keep reading in just a second. Come to me, and I meant to stop you even earlier, but you did a great job. I forgot to stop you. Come to me, all you who are weary and what? And burdened. All right. Now, I'm not going to ask you to share, so don't feel like this. You're going to have to give an explanation. But if you have been weary in the past, I don't know how long this has lasted, since March. If you've been weary in the past year, just raise your hands if you've been weary. If you have been burdened, you say, well, it's kind of the same thing. If you're burdened, that makes you weary. You might not be burdened, but be weary. So you're like, I don't know what those words mean to you, but as you understand the word burdened, raise your hand if you've been burdened. Okay. Can somebody tell me 3 places that somebody might go when they are weary or burdened that is not the right answer from Matthew 11:28? So let's play Family Feud again. 3 answers of a place, a person, a thing, somewhere you might go when you are weary and burdened. There's lots of answers. I can think of 30 or 40 right off the top of my head. Who's got one? Let's move across the room here and let's come up with one. Yes, Addie Bell. You might go to sleep. Right, if you're weary or burdened, you just shut down. I mean, for me, that is probably my go-to drug. Thankfully, I'm not addicted to any substance. But there are times when my brain just says, I don't want to think, I don't want to deal with this, I'm going to shut off anything because I don't want to think about anything. So you might go to sleep. Where's someplace else you might go or a place you might turn if you were weary or burdened? Caroline? You might go to social media. Why would you do that if you were weary? I'm not saying it's a bad answer, but I'm not saying it's a wise answer either, but why would you go there if you're weary or burdened?
Try to get affirmation from the world.
Okay, I'm going to go and get affirmation from the world. So I might post something so that somebody can I'm so weary and burdened about myself that if I post something about myself, people might like it. Okay, I got it. Because I'm thinking if I'm weary or burdened, probably the last thing I'm going to do is go check out the news and check out what's going on in the world because that's going to make it worse. Somewhere else that you might go if you were weary or burdened. Somebody over here? A place that you might go or somewhere you might turn. Isaac? Yeah, okay, you might buy something or do something that feels good. And we can just put in a whole bunch of answers. Jesus says in Matthew 11:28, what does he say, Reese? He says, come where?
Come to me.
Come to me if you're weary or burdened. He says, if you're weary and you're burdened, come to me. And then what's he going to do? I will give you rest. Oh, I'm going to get a nap? Oh, that's going to be great. I'm going to get rest. I'm not going to have to do anything. I'm not going to have to work. I'm not going to have to... Keep going. Keep going in the next verse, I mean. I was like, that's not it. There's more of the Bible.
Take up my yoke and learn from me.
Take up my yoke and learn from me. Somebody tell me yoke spelled Y-O-K-E, so it's not a Y-O-L-K, like an egg yolk. Somebody just give me an idea of what is a yoke? Is it like an ox? It's associated with an ox. You take an ox and you would take another ox and you'd put the yoke between them, right? And what does it do? Well, it doesn't necessarily pull them. Do what? Oh, very good. Okay, it connects them. See, I love this. I love working out answers. You're doing great. You're the only person in the room who's brave enough to take a stab at it, and we got to the answer together. It connects them, and it keeps them going in the same direction. It's going to connect 2 oxen. All right? So you have 2 oxen, they're connected with a yoke, and they're going to do something. Jesus says, I'm going to give you a yoke, Reese. And you're like, wait a minute. A yoke sounds like I'm going to be like confined. Those oxen look like they are confined. He says, but my yoke is what?
Easy and my burden.
My yoke is easy and my burden is light. He says, if you're burdened, come to me and I'm going to give you, sounds like he's saying, I'm going to give you another burden. You're like, wait a minute. If I got a lot of burdens, he's like, don't worry, my burden's light. I don't care. I don't want another burden. But my yoke is easy. I don't want to be yoked. I want to be free. Most of us in the room, I mean, really, just think about it. You want to be free to do whatever you want to do. You don't want anybody else to tell you what to do. You want to be in charge of whatever. Now, I'm not saying you, not just teenagers. We, all of us in the back of the room, could nod our heads as well. We want to be free. We want to do whatever we want to do, and we want to live life the way we want to live it, and we don't want anybody to tell us otherwise. Jesus says, That's going to leave you weary and burdened. And come to me and you'll get rest. Now, of the people that are watching at home, and there's people here, my guess is there's about close to 90 students in the room. Is that right, Bill? There's about 90 students in the room. There are maybe, I don't know how many people are watching at home, but we'll find out after this. We'll look and we'll find out how many people logged in. Let's say there's, another 50 or 90 more. Let's just say there's 90 more teens. 200, that's probably wishful thinking to think that 90 people are, but that's 200. There's 375 or 380 in our youth ministry. So there's a lot of other students. My burden this year, I know the burden that Blake and I have shared, that our interns have shared, that Vicki has shared, that parents have shared, the burden that we have shared is there anybody out there who's given up during this? Because it's really tempting. To be 13, it's really tempting to give up because it's tempting to be 49 and want to just give up and say, I don't understand this. Because God, what you promised, what you seem to have promised, I'm not experiencing in my life. Now, my guess is you're thinking, oh man, I didn't feel good when I came here and now you're making me feel worse. This is going to be a series where you're going to have to stick with it because if you walk out after the first 3 minutes of the movie and go, I hate this movie. Which there have been movies that I've walked out on because they were inappropriate or they were more vulgar than I thought they were going to be. But if it's just a movie you're like, I don't like the way this story's going, I'm leaving, you got to be able to hear this story out. So I'm begging you to at least, even if you can't be here in person, to tune in because if you only get part of it, you'll leave thinking, I don't want to hear any more. I've heard enough. I don't need to hear that. I already feel that way. I'm going to start it with a little bit of a lighter illustration though. My guess is that some of you for Christmas, when you were younger, maybe even now, when you were younger, you got something that you really, really, really wanted, right? And you played with it for about 12 minutes, and then you were done. And you put it up, and you were like, well, I got all the fun there was out of that. Now, I don't know how many of you are thinking right now of a toy that is true for you, like you thought, oh, if I just get this, it's going to be so awesome. And my family, the kids in the neighborhood are going to want to all come to my house. I'm going to be the envy of everybody. You got it, and then you played with it. For Annabelle, my middle daughter, it was a robot dog. She told Santa she wanted a sucker cane, which is a candy cane. She wanted a sucker cane, a robot dog, and a surprise. And so Santa brought her the robot dog. And that robot dog, you pushed a button and it would go forward and it would go backwards and it would bark and it would turn around and it looked like a robot. It looked like a real dog. And she played with it. Do you remember the robot dog? Do you have any memory of the robot dog at all? Yeah, you remember what it looks like. Well, I'm surprised that because we sold it at a yard sale like a month later. Sorry, Santa, but bad call. So how many of you, raise your hand, what was the toy for you? That was the thing that you, yes? A remote control helicopter. See, that sounds kind of fun. But after 5 minutes, it was done. Okay. Covered in hair. You flew it like at your sister's or something?
No, their hair just found a way.
Okay, all right. Yeah, what was it?
A baby doll that would like cry.
A baby doll that would cry. Okay, we're in the back.
It was also a robot dog, but it was supposed to be training for like a real dog. It was like a real dog the same year, so we just never played with it at all.
Wow, that's involved. That's a lot. That's good. Good example. Yeah, let's get two more right here. I don't even know what that is.
It's like a vitamin.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Anything like that, right? It's going to last. Like on the commercial, it looks great. Yes. One more. I can't hear you.
I had a Barbie that had a camera on it, and I took one picture and I was like,
Okay, a Barbie that had a camera on it. It's like a bionic Barbie. Like she had a camera on her, like she was carrying a camera? Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so adults in the room, I'm going to age myself. There's about 3 of you in the back that are going to enjoy this. The rest of you just going to have to bear with me because you've probably never seen this. But when I was a kid, there was a daredevil, and his name was Evel Knievel. How many of you here have ever heard of Evel Knievel? Okay. Evel Knievel was pretty incredible, and just look at the way he dressed. Anybody walking around like that and had hair like that and could just walk around and do like that? I mean, he was incredible. And Evel Knievel would ride a motorcycle. He would jump over cars. He would jump over animals. He would jump over through fire. He tried to jump over the Grand Canyon, and a rocket didn't make it. I mean, it had a parachute on it, so he made it, but the attempt was unsuccessful. But Evel Knievel was awesome. And, I mean, any kid watching this, especially if you're my age, you're going to be like, yeah, I want to do that. And so you got a chance to do that. My friend Pete Passavant had a bicycle that looked like this, and that was amazing. I mean, it didn't jump over cars. Pete tried a few times, but just because you had the bicycle, it didn't mean you were going to be like Evel Knievel. But then they came out with the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. Anybody in the back remember the Evel Knievel stunt cycle? Pete, you remember that? Did you have one of these? Yeah, you had one? Is it still in your office, maybe? Oh, okay, all right. So the Evel Knievel stunt cycle looks something like this, all right? And you'd wind it up. Look how much fun that kid's having. And I'm going to show you the commercial. Mike's got the actual commercial. This is the commercial that made me say, I want the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. Watch this. Yeah, you got to pay attention to that part, because if you got the stunt cycle and you got home, you realized Evel Knievel was not included in it. You had to go back to the store. And he jumped over the 4-foot ditch. It was amazing. Well, I never had one of these. Thankfully, because my friend Pete down the road got one. And when he called me one day this is no joke, he called me on my Radio Shack walkie-talkie, the exact same model that they use in Stranger Things. It's the exact kind that Pete and I had. And he would call me. He would call me Punch. I'd call him John. Those were the chips. Anyway, it's a long story. He would call me, and he would say, come on down here. I got the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. And I'm like, Mom, I got to go. She's like, where are you going? I'm going down to Pete's house. This is before the days when, your parents could track you anywhere. And I just left, right? Those of us in the back, we just stayed out till it got dark. And then our parents were like, as soon as it gets dark, they're going to come home, I guess. No Life 360. I know Sunday morning I was talking about that there was no Life 360, and all the sophomores were like, how can we go back in time to this magical land? When you had, they're like, what did you do? I said, my mom rang a dinner bell, like a triangle. It's time to come home. Like, I got to go. So I went down to Pete's house to play, and he got it out of the box, and we put it in there. You put Evel Knievel on the stunt cycle, which took a long time to get him to hold the handlebars, and you started revving it up, and he was like, and you cut him loose, and you go, boom, boom, and fall over. We were setting up ramps and stuff, and we could just never get it to work. Now, Mike said that his stepdad got it to work for him. I needed a friend like Mike. I didn't have that. Evel Knievel did none of that. And I'm like, this is a complete, total waste of time. It came with all sorts of stuff that was going to make it even cooler. He's got a red chair and a fire extinguisher and a van he could drive up on top of. Other people, apparently, I never even saw those. I didn't know that existed. I did find out that Evel Knievel's family is suing Pixar. They're suing Pixar because they said Duke Kaboom. There was no Duke Kaboom. There's no Canadian Daredevil, which is why, by the way, they made him Canadian, because if they put him in a red, white, and blue jumpsuit, it would have been obviously Evel Knievel. And I don't think his family is going to actually win the lawsuit, but it's pretty funny that they're like, every other toy in Toy Story is based off of an actual toy, right? And they own the license to the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. And they're like, you're trying to get away from paying our family, and no, it's not going to work. Anyway, I just found that out while I was researching this. I was like, wow, easy, back off. But it was obviously, Duke Kaboom is clearly, I mean, the commercial looked just like it, right? It was Duke Kaboom. But when I thought about the way that I felt about what was promised in the Evel Knievel stunt cycle and what I actually got, it's probably the best way that I can think of to illustrate this book of the Bible, the book Ecclesiastes. Now, how many of you could tell me anything about the book of Ecclesiastes? Anything. Somebody knows something about the book of Ecclesiastes besides that it starts with an E and things like that. Yes?
It definitely deals with the whole idea of like everything is meaningless. It's like he goes through all different sectors of life and how it has no meaning.
Okay. All right. So everything is meaningless. That's kind of the theme of the book, is what Garrison says. We're going to try to at least cover part of that idea before we leave here in a minute. Anybody else know anything else about the book of Ecclesiastes? Anybody else? Yes. Okay, yeah, very good. You're quoting a verse from it. There's something else that probably everybody knows about Ecclesiastes. in Ecclesiastes, I believe it's 3, the song that we played for our 4-minute party, some of you may have recognized that song from the 60s. The song Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, B-Y-R-D-S, which is a very, very popular song. Your parents would know it even if you haven't. The song is based, it's word for word pretty much from the book of Ecclesiastes. So we're going to look at this book and we're going to explore it. And you think, oh, goodness gracious. I'm just telling you, it's going to be exciting if you're willing to at least invest. So you'll need to have some type of a journal or a Bible or something with you. The book of Ecclesiastes, if you start, I show this picture of Doc Brown and Marty. Would you turn to Ecclesiastes real quick? We've only got a few moments remaining, but I want you to at least look at the beginning of Ecclesiastes. We're not going to go verse by verse. We're not going to look at every single thing that the book says. But it says, and I don't have it on the screen, so the words of the teacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. So does anybody have a guess, based on seeing this, who this could be talking about? Yes. Yeah, could be talking about Solomon. We don't know that Solomon wrote it because Solomon is never mentioned. And the only clue that it might not be Solomon is there is a, look at verse 16. Verse 16. I said to myself, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. Some people would say, well, technically that could be Solomon, but only one other person ruled before him, and that was his dad, David. So he's either saying, I'm smarter than my dad, or it's kind of confusing that it may or may not be Solomon. We don't have to know who wrote it. It could be somebody who is just, because there is some you don't have to know all this stuff, but there's a type of Old Testament literature where somebody might just kind of take on the role of Solomon. It's like if I said, hey, pretend like I'm Doc Brown giving wisdom to Marty McFly. Now, I'm not Doc Brown, and I could, if I stood up and said, I've been a scientist for a long time, you might know that I'm playing a part. You wouldn't say, he's lying to us, right? So we don't have to know. It very likely could be Solomon, but there's two different voices in Ecclesiastes. Look at verse 1 again. The words of the teacher, son of David. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Somebody is quoting the teacher. So there's two different voices. We'll come back to that idea later. But at least just think about this. Think about in movies, those wise people who are passing down words to somebody else who's troubled. Now, was Marty troubled? I mean, maybe not troubled. You could say that Daniel LaRusso was troubled, right? And so he's got a mentor in Mr. Miyagi. You could say that Luke Skywalker was troubled, and he had a mentor in Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think I've covered all of the science fiction nerdydom of my 80s life right here in one slide. But these movies were popular with a lot of people because somebody wiser was giving words to somebody that was troubled. They were weary and they were burdened. Okay, everybody with me so far? So you've got there's a teacher, and then there's like a narrator that is talking about this, and he's going to tell us, this picture I know is very odd, this is a combination of Einstein, Jeff Bezos, and maybe Kanye, I don't know. But it's like it's three. Think about somebody that's really popular in culture, that's that's very famous, very smart, and very wealthy. This would describe Solomon. He was extremely smart. He was the wisest man who'd ever lived. He was extremely wealthy. He had 700 wives, 300 concubines. He had lots of money. He was very well known. And so if you kind of combine somebody like all into one person, you've got somebody like that. But you also have somebody who's going to write like the Eeyore of the Bible. I mean, we're talking, this book can be really depressing if you look at it on the surface and say what he's saying is that everything is meaningless. This is a word cloud from the book of Ecclesiastes. You guys know what a word cloud is, right? A word cloud is where you take every word that appears in a work of art or an article or a book, and the size of the word is based on how often it appears in the book, right? So you can see right here. I mean, what words stand out? I see the word God. I see the word man. I see the word time. I see other words like heart and wise and wisdom. I see the word son. But other than God and man, I see that word up there at the top, which is the word you said, which is the word meaningless. Let's just look at what he says. want to go real quick through this because we got to make this point tonight. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Now you're like, wow, I am glad I came to church tonight. Like, this is making me feel better right now. One of the things that I think is important to know, we'll come back to this over and over and over again as we call this series Meaningless. We're going to try to break those two words apart, or that word apart, into two words. Instead of meaningless, let's just look at meaningless. You're like, what's the difference? That's going to come later. But this word vanity, anybody have a translation that says vanity? Anybody's translation says vanity, vanity, all of it's vanity, okay? So you say, well, does meaningless mean vanity? Well, what is a vanity? Vanity either means excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance, or the quality of being worthless or futile. But we think of a vanity as this, right? This is a vanity. This is where you go and sit when you don't like the way you look. You go and sit, right, ladies, and get all fixed up, okay, in front of a vanity. And we call it a vanity so that you can improve, your appearance, so to speak. And so you're like, well, what is the word vanity? And what is the word meaningless? It's this word hevel, or some people would spell it with a B, but this word hevel. Hevel, okay? I want you to make sure if you're writing down in your Bible, you want to write this word down, and we're going to end tonight with this idea. And I'm going to close with a match. And to think about this idea. I'm reading a book about Ecclesiastes called Living Life Backwards. And in the first chapter of that book, he gives a pretty good illustration of this word, hevel. Because if Garrison says, he says everything is meaningless. I think you missed the whole point of the book of Ecclesiastes. Because the word we translate it into meaningless, but the word hevel is a word that means something very different. It's a word that means vapor or smoke or mist, or a word that means an enigma. You're like, what is an enigma? Let me just give you this illustration before we close, okay? I think I'm safe to not set off anything in here. I've already cleared that with folks, all right? So I'm going to light this match. I've got this match. And then I want you to watch what happens when I blow the match out, okay? All right. How many of you see smoke? Okay? Everybody saw the smoke. Nobody's doubting the existence of the smoke. All right? I'm going to set that there. I need one volunteer from the front row. Cedra, you want to help me out? You didn't want to get up earlier. Do you mind getting up now? Okay. I want you to come up here again. I'm going to light this here, okay? Now, just stand there and get ready. Just put your hands up. I'm not going to burn you, I promise. Just put your hands up. Get them closer. Okay, hold on. Now, catch the smoke. Okay, catch it. Okay, catch it. Now, show it to us. Okay. All right. Do you believe the smoke was there?
Yes.
You saw the smoke?
Yes.
All right. Why didn't you catch the smoke?
Because you can't catch smoke.
You can't what?
Catch smoke.
You can't catch smoke. Okay. I want us to at least end tonight and begin with this idea. This is the best way to describe the word hevel. The word hevel means fleeting. Fleeting. Not able to be grasped. It doesn't mean that it has no purpose. Does the smoke have purpose? I mean, the match has purpose, and even the smoke has a purpose. But if you say this life is, if you say the writer of Ecclesiastes is saying life is meaningless, that's not what he's saying. You may feel that way. That's not what he's saying. Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and have it to the fullest. And yet the Ecclesiastes writer, like Eeyore, says it's all meaningless. What he's saying is it's hevel, right? So write that word down somewhere so you know it. The word hevel, he says, I just can't understand it. Just because you can't grasp the meaning of life doesn't mean that there is no meaning, right? We're going to unpack that a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more to say about this book, and we're just going to begin to dive into it. But I at least wanted to introduce you to the idea, the possible author, his possible intent, and what he is going to say. What he is not saying is, hey guys, give up because life has no meaning. If you think that's the point of the book of Ecclesiastes, you either stopped reading it way too early, or you've read it the wrong way, or you've thought about it completely differently. The wisest, richest, most well-known man of his time, and probably who has ever lived, said, I'm just going to share with you, Garrison, if you were Marty McFly, He says, I just want you to come sit on the porch, and I'm going to share with you what I have learned about life. And he says, I want to tell you it's hevel. It's all hevel. Doesn't mean it's meaningless. He just says it is extremely difficult to grasp. But he says another phrase after this that we're going to have to wait till next week to get to, that begins to put it in perspective, that hopefully by the end of this series, he's going to say to those of you who think, you know what, I'm ready to give up because I just don't think life is worth it. And you're like, Solomon agrees with me. He would say, whoa. What did I say that made you agree with that? I just read your book. You said everything was meaningless, and I'm intending to agree with you. I'm going to shut my Bible. I'm going to stop coming to church. I'm going to stop going to D group. I'm going to stop being with my, having devotion to my family. I'm going to stop reading because there's no point. Solomon would say, no. That wasn't my point. You completely missed the point. And so we're going to take the word meaningless and talk about a life that has less meaning when you live it outside of what Jesus said in Matthew 11. We have a long way to go in this, but we're going to start with there, okay? All right, is everybody in for this? Because there's probably some questions that you have, and we hope to unpack those over the next couple of weeks. God, I thank you for tonight, and I thank you for our being able to be in a space tonight, and I'm thankful that we get to be back in our regular space next week, and for all the servants who've made that happen. God, I thank you for this book that has really been a struggle to dive into, but has been so enlightening in helping to give greater purpose to some of the own anxieties that I've battled for several months. And God, it is my prayer that we can take some of the students who are really hurting and really wondering what is life all about, and we can use this book to begin to awaken within them a desire to keep asking deeper questions, even when we don't get the answers as quickly as we want, or we don't get the promises that we thought we were going to get when we watched the commercial and bought the product. So God, be with us and bring students into our circle, either online or here in person, who right now think that life is completely pointless. And let's just have a dialogue with them. It's through the name of Jesus that we pray, and we say together in the name of Jesus. Amen. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Take your trash and throw it away, please, on your way out. Let's kind of clean up the room. Some of the guys, if you can help us with the tables, we want to put the tables back where they go so that we can clean up this room so the interns don't have to do that alone. So if any guys can help roll up some tables, throw all your cups away and your papers. Thank you so much. Have a great night.